So I want to talk to you guys about how years ago I interacted with somebody who was trying to start his own pyramid scheme. I'll just call him Mark. So years ago I had a friend and she told me that Mark could help spread the word about my work. And at that time, I was doing a lot of writing, and I really believed that the best way that I could get my work across to people was to get invited to speak at churches and to talk to congregations. I really believe that now I have a different mentality. Now I understand that you can just upload a video onto YouTube and that's it. There's no hassle. There's no negotiations. There's no gatekeeping. There's no dealing with pastors who want you to be PC for their congregations. There's none of that. It's just a lot easier. And this is the world that we live in now. We have the internet. So, but at that time, I really thought I have to go speak to the churches. I have to go get to the congregations and all this stuff. And that can be very difficult because pastors gatekeep a lot. Pastors are very discriminatory when it comes to inviting people to speak because they don't want people to come who are going to preach in a fiery way because they're afraid that they're going to lose people. They're afraid that people will walk out of their churches and they're going to lose money. But this friend of mine told me that Mark could connect me with churches because he had a lot of friends who were pastors. But she said that I had to attend some phone conference, and I don't want to attend some phone conference. Phone conferences are lame, and they're not promising, and it's just a bunch of people who think that they're going to fulfill their goals by attending some conference, and we all know that that's a bunch of garbage. But I attended this phone conference. Basically, I was sleeping one morning, and the phone rang, and it was this friend of mine, and she said, "Oh, hey Ted, I got you dialed into this damn phone conference." She didn't say damn. I'm saying damn because that's what it was. It was a damn phone conference that I really didn't want to be in because it's boring and I just would rather write articles and research things but whatever. I naively thought that maybe this guy could actually help me. That was the mistake that I made. Anyway, here I was in this phone conference, and this Mark guy is giving out his advice to all of these people. And there were probably, I don't know, 10 people, 12 people on this line. He was giving out his advice to people who were trying to start businesses, or they were trying to lead their businesses into success, or they were trying to start some organization, whatever. So I'm here listening to this guy, and I spoke to Mark, and I said, "Hey, Mark, blah blah blah," and he said, "Yeah, your friend told me about your work. It sounds great, yada yada yada." And I asked him, I said, "Could you connect me with pastors? Could you connect me with congregations?" And he said, "Yeah, I can help you. I can help you with marketing, blah blah blah." I said, "Okay, great. That sounds promising." And so the next day, I got dialed into this phone conference again. I'm listening to this guy, and I remember it was either in this conference or it was in the subsequent conference when I asked this Mark guy. I said, "Mark, when are you going to help me out? When are you going to?" Because here I was doing these conferences and it was just boring and it was just wasting my time. It was wasting my time. So I told this Mark guy. I said, "Mark, when are you going to connect me with pastors? When are you going to help me with marketing my work?" And he said, "Theodore," and this was my introduction into the corporate multi-level marketing scheme form of manipulation. He said, "Theodore, you're not asking the right questions." And the way he asked the question, the way he told me this, it was just a very aggressive way, and it sounded very ominous, and it was just a giant red flag. And my spidey senses went up. My gut feeling was telling me that this guy was no damn good. And you should always listen to your gut feeling. Always. Your gut feeling knows better. Your gut feeling knows more than you do. Your gut feeling surpasses all of your fear of being impolite. Your gut feeling surpasses your fear of being looked at as paranoid or weird. Your gut feeling surpasses all that nonsense. Your gut feeling surpasses all of the formalities of human interaction. It just tells you, hey, you're in a situation that you should not be in. You're in a red flag atmosphere. Get out right the hell now. So I just didn't feel right about it. He was talking to me in an aggressive manner. I felt like he was being, I felt like he crossed the line. And looking back, I can definitely say that it was manipulation. And the friend of mine, she actually called me up after the conference, and she said, "Hey, I'm sorry about what happened." And I said, "Don't worry about it, but this guy is no damn good. He's no good, this guy." And I told her, I said, "I never want to talk to this guy ever again." So after I had the conversation with my friend, I started looking into what this guy was. I started doing some more research on what this guy was trying to do, because in the last phone conference that I was in, he was explaining, or one of the last ones, it was either the last one or the second to the last one, I don't remember, but he started to explain to us what he was going to do for us, right? Or what he wanted us to think that he was going to do for us. And he said that he would take the logos of all of our businesses, organizations, websites, what have you, and he was going to present them in a giant poster. He was going to present them onto a giant poster. And he would take this giant poster as if it was a billboard, and he would present it in a hotel lobby. He was going to rent out a hotel lobby, and he was going to invite a bunch of investors over, and then he would have in the hotel lobby the giant poster with all of our logos. And then he would tell the investors, "Look, these are all of the businesses and organizations that I'm marketing for. Look at how active I am. Look at how successful I am." And the whole idea was to get money from investors. And he would do this on the backs of all these people that he was telling that he was going to market for them. He was telling all these people, "I'm going to help market your work." And then he would present their logos in some conference meeting, in some conference in a hotel, and then he would tell investors, "Look at how busy I am." And then the investors would think, "Oh wow, this guy looks really successful," and then they would fund his work, and he would make that money off of other people's backs. So I started doing research on this sort of scheme, and this is when I was first introduced to the term pyramid scheme. And I read about it on Wikipedia. And I told my friend that this is exactly what Mark was doing, that Mark was doing a pyramid scheme, and that he was really making money off of other people's backs while telling them that he was going to market their businesses. So this was my introduction to pyramid schemes. So yesterday I started reading this book. It's called Don't Call It a Cult by Sarah Berman. This has been a very fun read, I will say. I've always been very interested in cults since I was in middle school. I had a fascination with cults. The first book that I wrote, I was in high school, and it was all about cults, Islam, Mormonism, Scientology, etc. So I've always had a deep fascination on the subject of cults. And one thing that I do find fascinating is corporate cults, multi-level marketing cults, pyramid scheme cults. And a lot of these schemes function like cults, where all of the employees are dedicated to the leader, and they're all working toward making the leader successful while while really marketing lies to people. And the way that these things work is they tell people, and the book is really about the cult of Keith Raniere, his NXIVM cult, but it gives you the origins of Keith Raniere's cult and how it started out as a pyramid scheme. And so what Raniere would do is he would have all these employees, and he started his own multi-level pyramid scheme, and he called it Consumers Byline. That was the name of it. And basically what he would do is he would have these employees go around trying to recruit people to becoming members of this supposed business that he had started. And the business marketed itself as one that would sell cosmetics, kitchen appliances, real estate, services, etc. All these things. And all these employees would be going around trying to recruit people to become members of this business, kind of like becoming a member of Costco, although Costco is not a scam. And so they would tell people, you can buy all these products and you'll get money off. You'll get discounts because you'll be buying the products through us. And how do you become a member? Well, you pay over $200 a year. So if you could get 80,000 people to become members of this business and they're paying over $200 a year, you're making millions of dollars every single year. And that's not from selling products. That's from just getting membership. That's just from getting people to sign up. So really the objective was not to sell products, but really it was to get as many members as possible. And this is what you would call a pyramid scheme. It's not about really selling goods. It's about getting members, and those members pay you money. And then you tell people, hey, work for us. You'll make lots of money working for us. But the reality is that you're just getting all these employees to become evangelists for your scheme, and it functions just like a cult because you want people to be loyal to your business to the point where they care more about pleasing the leader than actually making money for themselves and actually fulfilling their own interest. And so it becomes a cult of personality. The book gets into the history of pyramid schemes, and this is one thing that I found pretty fascinating. And it talks about the first pyramid scheme. It talks about this pyramid scheme. It was called Holiday Magic, and it was founded in the 1960s by a guy named William Penn Patrick. And he would tell people that they could make money selling really really trivial products like, avocado face cream. And the thing is that people really weren't making the money that they were told that they would make. Rather, they were just getting tons of these products shipped to their, piled up in their garages, and somebody would have a pile of avocado face cream in their garage, thinking that they were entrepreneurs when the reality was that they were just slaves for this pyramid scheme. And the person who was making most of the money was William Penn Patrick. And William Penn Patrick, he formed his whole scheme as a cult. And he started his own seminar system called Leadership Dynamics Institute, the Leadership Dynamics Institute, in 1967. And this cult was formed at the height of the Summer of Love. And so while you had all these hippies who were talking about, reaching their full potential through drugs, there was another type of movement that was rising up that was selling the same type of thing, but not through drugs, but through reaching your true human potential by psychological means, by hypnosis, by accessing the different parts of your brain that you're not accessing. And so this group, the Leadership Dynamics Institute, it functioned as a very vicious cult. And it says here that groups were punished for the perceived shortcomings of an individual member. Participants were beaten, mock crucified, or put in coffins to elicit emotional responses. Eventually, this company was shut down in 1973 because the government realized that it was illegal. But I find this to be pretty creepy, that you have these people running around and they start these marketing gimmicks. They start these pyramid schemes, and they tell people that it's a business. They tell people that it's a legitimate way to make money, when the reality is that it's just a pyramid scheme. It's a cult, and it's a way for the leader to make money. And Mr. Raniere, Keith Raniere, he started his own pyramid scheme. Eventually, it was shut down because it was realized by multiple governments in the United States, especially the government of New York, that it was illegal, that it was a criminal enterprise. And so Raniere, when his pyramid scheme was shut down, he simply continued his pyramid scheme under the form of a cult. And he started a cult called NXIVM. And I think NXIVM stands for the next millennium or something like that. It's all very creepy. And the thing also about Raniere's cult was that it was full of women. In fact, most of the members of his cult were women. And this guy had women galore. He had all these girlfriends. He was having sex with all of them. And all these women thought that he was a genius. They thought he was some guru. They thought he was some Buddhist messiah. They thought he had all this eternal knowledge, that his IQ was up to the heavens high, that he was the smartest man in the world, that he was an athlete. Like, this guy was everything to them. He was everything. And one thing that I realized, and I've been reading about cults for years. I've read about the Mormons. I read about the Muslims. I read about Scientology, the Church of Satan. I read about all sorts of cults and weird groups. And one thing I realized is that women love cults. And this Raniere guy, he started a cult, and women flocked to him. They flocked to him, and he would tell them, "Oh, you're a princess, and you're the greatest thing ever, and you're so special to me." And meanwhile, he's porking 12 other different women and telling them the same bullshit. It's kind of sad because the average guy has difficulty just setting up a date. So if you're if you're sad and you're saying, "Oh, I can't get a girlfriend," just start a cult. You'll have women all over you. Anyway, you guys just heard some theology. God bless.